In memoriam.
We're so cultured. How about that? Hey.
I really feel like they should have been showing all the people that died in the past 12 months.
No. That's not in memoriam music. That's
memoriam music.
That's the show. The lights are dimming, pulling you into the theater as the swells.
No, I'm picturing, Ernest Borgnine and.
Well, speaking of Ernest Borgnine,
wow,
is the EriDan Film Festival, where we're going to talk about a Gene Hackman movie from 1986. It's the classic. I guess we'll find out. Classic Hoosiers, a movie from 1986. Plus, we're going to spin the wheels of reels to pick next week's double feature. It's a big night.
You're way too excited.
I was trying to build up something. So grab your phones, grab your tablets, your laptops, because you get to join us and share your thoughts and do all that stuff. Are you ready for the show to start?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, now we're official. Now we're in.
Okay.
Now we can really get started. Episode 47.
Really?
EriDan Film Festival. No, I lied. 46. This is episode 46. If you're watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, it's season 2, episode 17. But if you've been with us on Facebook and YouTube since the beginning, you are now experiencing the 46th episode of the EriDan Film Festival, where we talk movies and Hoosiers.
I can't tell you how excited I am about tonight.
This is Dan's choice, obviously. Dan's choice tonight. Well, let's run over the specs and then we'll start bringing some people in, because people are lining up outside. It's like a premiere. They can't wait to get in and talk about Hoosiers. But let's go over the specs of the movie first, in case you've never heard of Hoosiers. Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, Dennis Hopper, some other fine folks.
Other fine folks. Sheb, Fern, and Shalise. I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not stepping on Sheb. Budget of $6 million, worldwide gross of $28.6 million. Critics over at Rotten Tomatoes, 89%, audience at 88%. Let's see if our audience agrees tonight. We've got some people lining up outside to come in and be part of the show. Dan, how would other people be part of the show if they wanted to join us?
Well, if you want to join us tonight, it's so easy. After I get out of my Clutch Radio thing here, hold on a second, I have the wrong one. All you have to do is go to EriDan.com. That's EriDan.com. Ask for it by name at your finer hair product stores. You can just go to EriDan Live.
You can do that with the Facebook. You could do that with your tablet, your phone. But if you are doing that, close whatever you're watching now and go to that website. Do not leave your Facebook or your YouTube browser open, because otherwise we hear lots of feedback and all that stuff. So, all right, we're going to bring in a whole bunch of people really quick. Stacy and Reagan are here.
Madam Librarian.
Not actually a librarian.
And that might
actually
not actually a librarian. I thought I'd clarify. Not only, how are you ladies?
Okay. Good, yeah.
Good, you ready? You're excited for this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna bring in some of the boys. Here comes Michael.
All clear, Michael. It's safe to proceed.
Knight Rider.
There, Michael.
Okay, I have a couple things real quick. First of all, Dan, you're really excited, so I'm here. You may want to take that down a little. Second,
I'm going to rip you a new one. Let me just tell you right now. Go on.
No, listen.
It's going to be
I watched Friday night's social night, and I want to just say one thing. There was so much sexual harassment, pedophilia, and homophobia in that show that the HR department at my job wants to buy it and use it for an upcoming sexual seminar on what not to say.
For those who
Not
don't
gonna
know,
come
if you're
out.
listening to the podcast and you're like, wait, this is a movie show, we do host a show on Friday nights where we just have fun and we goof around. And yeah, last Friday's show was pretty adult. It was a pretty adult show.
Well, but the game, we did not choose the game or the fact that the national holiday that was Friday.
That's a very good point.
Hold on.
Sorry.
April 23rd. April 23rd is my parents' wedding anniversary.
Well, that's
and had
That's
my
great.
father still been alive, it would have been 60 years. So
fantastic. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm just glad my mother didn't watch Friday's show.
Speaking of awesome, because we want to stay on topic for our film festival tonight.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to join the wildness on Friday, please join us Friday nights. Facebook, YouTube, EriDan, you can't miss it. And who never misses it would be Dave. Let's bring Dave in.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
All right, there's Dave. Hey there.
There was so much sexual harassment Friday that Michael had to watch it 3 times.
Yes, how about that?
I'll set him up, Dave. You knock him down.
We appreciate that. So this is Dan's movie, Hoosiers. So let's let Dan give a little synopsis and tell us why. Tell us about Hoosiers. Why did you choose this for this group?
All right, let me start with 1986. Stacy, you'll remember this. Eric, you won't.
Okay.
I don't remember.
In 1986, Blackhawk won the WPIL championship. They were the underdogs. They were not supposed to win. Beaver Falls, the big team that was going to beat everybody. And with Sean Miller at the point and many other great players, Jimmy Peel and Jason McCown. I think Jason McCown might have been injured. Sam Stanchek, Jay Keenan, John. I mean, just the whole team. Paul Mannix.
Man, they all graduated with me.
Yes, a lot of them graduated. They're all class of 87. A lot of juniors on that team. But we won the championship. And then in November, this movie comes out that's all about a small team winning a championship. Now, we didn't win the state championship, but I watched this movie in the theater. I'm trying to figure out who I went with. I don't think I went with my mom. I actually think I might have gone with Tony Policaro.
Okay.
I think there's a very strong chance of that. So if Rick Burdine, if you're watching, there's your Policaro reference for the evening. Then cut to years later, I'm coaching basketball at Avonworth High School, a little school outside of Pittsburgh, a little small single A school. No, we did not win the state championship, but we were sucking very badly. We were 2-8. The people in the crowds were screaming, "Play zone," because they played zone forever. And I came from Blackhawk, which was all man to man. So it was very similar. And the community was like, I was an outsider, a lot of similarities. So one day after practice, we're about to play Monaca, who they'd never beat, I think, in the history of the school. And instead of practice, I ordered pizzas and we went in the classroom and we watched Hoosiers. That was our practice that day. And we went on to almost make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean, we missed it by literally the last game. Mm-hmm. I got coach of the year. A lot of the players I'm still in contact with, and they say it was one of the best years they've ever had in basketball. So I blame Hoosiers for that. And I probably have watched this movie more than Back to the Future, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Because I watch it every single year of basketball. And I coached for, a bunch of years. Every year I'd watch it at least preseason and usually once or twice during the season. And it's probably my number 2 movie of all time behind.
So this really takes you back.
Oh, yeah.
This takes you back. So
this trip down memory lane is brought to you in part by
mansplaining. Your coworkers will think you're so smart when you try mansplaining. Now available in all areas. There you go. All right. Hey, speaking of, no, I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to welcome in Denise is here. And dressed for
Look at that.
Pulled out the sweatshirt. Wow.
I didn't have anything that actually said Hoosiers, but it's the closest I could get. Vintage.
I think it's perfect.
Now, the one thing I will say, and Michael is going to rip on this movie for a lot of things, there are a lot of technical issues with this movie. There are a lot of continuity issues with this movie. But part of it is because the movie was originally 3 hours long. And
I knew
they cut it way down.
Snyder cut.
Yes.
When's the Snyder cut of Hoosiers coming out?
With lots of slow motion basketball.
They should have left They should have left about 30 minutes of that stuff in, and we'll get to that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's definitely stuff that they, the relationship in between him and Barbara Hershey it happens like that.
It makes sense.
That was
more
forced.
of it.
That was really forced.
And then also there's all of a sudden they have 8 players. I'm like, how'd that guy get back
Yes.
on the team?
Yes.
Okay, I
There's a
was
whole-
wondering about that.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
whole scene in the on the special DVD Blu-ray collection that shows all the missing scenes.
So Dan, you've seen this movie 30, 40 times. Has anybody, now this was my first time. Was this anybody else's first time ever seeing Hoosiers? Reagan for the first time? Oh, wow. Look at this. Almost everybody besides Stacy and Dan. Well, and I think that will be that'll be the tipping point. I think that this is one of those movies that if you obviously you have a tie to it. Personally, for me, without having a love of basketball, what was left didn't work.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was, and knowing that there was a lot of stuff that they edited out makes a lot of sense because it was like, because I wanted there to be so much more. I wanted there to be a connection with the team. I wanted them to have a connection with the kids, and the fact that it was like, oh yeah, let's make the principal just get sick all of a sudden, but he'll be better at the end. We won't even touch why, and then look, all of a sudden, like, yeah, they're in love and they'll kiss and that'll be great. We're not going to get into why. It's like there's so much missing from this movie.
Yeah.
I'm having a memory now. I think Stacey, maybe you and I and Jeff, maybe that group went and saw this movie. Do you remember seeing this movie in the theater?
I was trying to remember because I remembered only parts of it. I didn't remember the whole thing clearly. Wade said he and I watched it together because he's a big basketball fan, but that's, back when we had cable. So, and I don't remember going to see it in 86 because I wasn't dating Jeff then. So I don't think that was it.
You weren't yet?
No, 87 spring before prom.
Before you graduated?
Yeah.
You guys didn't date in high school at all?
Yeah, in 87 in the spring.
I thought you dated in 86. All right.
Yeah.
Whole other show.
He
Anyway.
had a crush on me then.
All right, who am I supposed to believe, Dan or Stacy?
This high school dating mini pod is brought to you by.
It actually,
Sorry, Michael.
it is, that was sponsored. Did you know that actually did have a sponsor? It would be at the fine things that you can buy over at EriDanShop.com.
It does exist.
Oh, I gotta look this up.
Please
Hold
feel
on.
free to head on over to EriDan. We'll talk a little later about EriDan Shop and the items that are now newly available at EriDanShop.com.
For real?
Yes.
For real, of course.
Yes, very for real.
Of course it is.
Your Aglets merchandise is available.
You gotta get some Aglet stuff. You can pick up some Aglet stuff. You can pick up a name drop T-shirt. It's all awesome. So we'll get into that later. So Dan.
Yes.
Okay, so I get the feeling at least half the room was not in love with this movie. What would your experience like watching it again, knowing that people were going to come with a more critical eye?
Well,
You're making a big assumption there.
Oh, I'm making a huge assumption there.
you don't have to be a sports fan to enjoy this movie.
I agree.
Basketball is not the only star of this movie. Now, when I do my 5 freaky facts, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to let some other people talk, but because I have to get them ready. But there are, and I have to make sure I don't overlap what other people are going to say. But this is voted. If you go to any list, ESPN just actually had this out, which was so weird. It was like because Oscars are now. So what are the top 5? Movies of all time? You guys are all looking at the EriDan Shop webpage. What are the top 5 sports movies of all time? And this is always up near the top. It is one of the best sports movies.
I mean, that's the thing. There's no doubt that this was a successful movie. Obviously, the critics love it. The audience who has bothered to go rate it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just wondering if there's a particular audience for it.
Everybody who's ever played basketball has watched this because their coach made them at least once. I guarantee that.
I said this to Eric the other day. I said, there's a good movie hiding underneath a bunch of formulaic crap. There's a lot of formula stuff in this film that it was just so predictable. And there was a few moments, I want to get to one of them later, that needed all this stuff that they cut out. And now that I found out they cut this much out, I am angry at the director.
That's what I felt
don't
too.
blame the director. Blame the producers.
The studio that probably made the editor do it.
Yeah.
True.
Whoever
You felt that the young kid who didn't think he was a great player, having him be number 13 and then having him score a big thing at the end was a little trite and a little cliche.
Wait. They not only did that last minute, scored the point to win the game thing out of cliche, they did it twice. We didn't need it twice. It would have been such a better movie. In fact, it would have been a much, much better movie if they had lost the championship, like Bad News Bears.
Well, the problem is it's based in reality. There's a team, the 1954 Milan team.
Loosely, very loosely is what I read. Loosely.
Yeah, but the writer and the director both went to Indiana University, just like Denise. I think one of the two of them grew up in Indiana.
The writer was born in Decatur. Yeah.
Right. And the other one went back to Indiana. He lives there now. The director, he lives in Indiana. He moved back to Indiana. So, I mean, that was the story that everybody Mom, did you take me to see this? Maybe I went with my mom. For some reason, I think I went with Tony Policaro. I don't know why.
No, you're thinking of the prom. You're thinking of the prom.
Oh, I went to the prom with my mom. Thank you. Actually, Dave, I went with your mom.
I wondered why she came home early. Anyway.
Oh my
So
goodness.
much to unwrap. So many things to unwrap.
Dan and Hilda. Nice.
Wowzers.
Your mom's name is Hilda?
Yes.
I did not know that.
You went to prom with her.
He knew her as Mrs. Gensel.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He had half a glass of beer, so he was so drunk he didn't remember.
I don't remember anything.
Wow,
You-
we are
you
going
people.
right. We are way off the rails and right
We
back
are,
into
sorry.
territory.
Anyway,
All right. Anybody else want to share some thoughts? Anything that they took away?
I have a whole bunch. Can I do a couple?
Sure, let's hear
I got a
from
whole
Mike.
bunch.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, here's the thing.
Give me a little
This
music.
film was very formulaic, but I don't have a problem with formula films because if formula films are done well, they're fantastic. James Bond, 60 years of the same damn formula. People still go see them over and over again. Rom-coms have this formula. Hallmark Channel wouldn't be as successful as it was but if you do the formula incorrectly, right, exactly. If you do the formula incorrectly, you're in danger of turning it into a bunch of tropes and tripes. Fortunately, this movie did not have that problem. The problem with this film is obviously the missing stuff. There's a key scene right in the center of the movie where they're going to vote him out of being coach. And all of a sudden, Barbara Hershey does an about face with zero lead up. The scene before, she's saying, look, I got dirt on you punching a kid in high school. I'm going to use it. And then the next scene, she's, I've got nothing. The kid, he has one brief speech with the kid. And we all knew that kid. We all knew that kid was going to go back on the team. And we all knew he was going to go back on the team at that meeting. We all knew it was there. And you know what? That was fine because there's comfort in that. But not knowing anything that he went through to make that decision made it seem like, ooh, Deus ex basketball player. So
not only that,
you
you didn't even have a good feel for why he left the team in the first place. That was very vaguely covered.
Yeah,
all of it, all the stuff I would have loved to have seen a scene of Hackman punching the high school kid. That would have given so much more.
It was a college kid, and he won let's not forget, he was the national champ. He won the national championship. Everybody forgets.
Here's the thing.
He was a national championship coach in college.
Right.
And he punched the player and got kicked out.
I'm not putting down the performance. I'm putting down the missing pieces. If we saw that the punch wasn't because he's a child abuser, that the punch was because he had a moment of passion, it would have made the character far more interesting. They left all that out. The romance, we knew the romance was coming, but she was 1 minute, and oh, they hate each other in the beginning, they love each other in the end, but we missed that whole arc. And now that I've learned this thing was cut out, I may lower my score even more.
I will say,
you can't blame the movie for that.
I didn't.
Sure, you can. You can be upset because the problem is it made every relationship shallow. Everybody in the movie, every relationship.
Because movie studios don't know what the F they're doing.
Well, I feel honestly, I feel there was entirely too much basketball. Honestly, the game.
It's called
Hoosiers. Just take it out.
I know, because the problem is that if the problem was time, give me more of the story and less of the slow motion basketball.
Yeah,
and less of the
I felt that way too.
It was just like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it.
That's like saying I wish Caddyshack didn't have golf in it. It'd have been such a funnier movie without the golf.
Get rid of the golf.
No, Dave, you have said multiple times how long the action sequence are in Marvel movies, which they're action movies, right? It's the same thing. No, I'm not saying no basketball.
It's not the same thing because
way too much.
The basketball is broken up by the coaches on the bench. It's broken up by the scenes. When you have an action scene like a car chase, it just goes on and on and on with nothing to break it up, which is what killed some of the Matrix scenes. But in this, that didn't bother me. And I'll partially agree with Mike and partially disagree. There's clearly a better movie that could have been had here. I don't think any of us disagree with that, even Dan, who loves the movie.
Yeah.
I don't agree that you needed a whole lot more of Gene Hackman's backstory, because I like the way it unfolded gradually.
Yeah.
And I think there was one or two scenes where he didn't come out and say it, but he did clearly indicate that previously everything was about winning to him, and he had moved beyond that. Yes. And you don't know exactly why, but you don't need to know exactly why. I think that part of it I was okay with. I think you're right about the romance with Barbara Hershey, way too truncated. I think you're right about Jimmy. No justification for why he left and no justification for why he came back.
Right?
Well, I have a huge problem with that, because they say, well, the coach died. Well, when did the coach die? Last season? During this? They've already been practicing this year. Why was he not on the team?
They sort of told you that because the one guy who had been the substitute coach told you how long he'd been doing it. So that sort of answered that question, but I don't remember exactly myself.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. You don't need much. It's that scene. It's the voting scene in the middle, the town scene gathering to vote. That's when you needed some of the stuff. I mean, you're right. You don't really need a lot of the Gene Hackman backstory. That's true. And Hackman's performance made up for it. But we did need to see why she did an about face, and we needed more of why Jimmy chose, to go back to the scene. Otherwise, it cheapens that pivotal scene.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt about it too. And I agree with the basketball comment, because it was like I didn't know what game we were on. Eventually, I was like, "What's happening?" Like that's the only problem that I have with it, because I'm glad to hear that there was stuff cut out. I feel like everybody else was that way too, but I was like confused the whole way through the movie that it bored me actually, because I was like, I really love the moral of the story. I love the fact that the basis of it, besides teamwork and everything, was more about respecting other people and their time and different like stuff like that. Because I feel like my generation and people younger don't do that. They don't value that at all. And it really blows my mind that they don't. So I really fall for that kind of stuff in movies. But so I loved it for that reason. But besides that, it seemed like it was in pieces and didn't quite make sense. And certain things were forced because stuff was cut out. It was kind of odd.
Right. My mom mentioned the old coach was like a father to Jimmy, and he had no family, and that's why Miss Fleener, what a name, Myra Fleener, was like watching him, and she makes a bunch of good points too, because she talks about you want to be the 17-year-old kid that's the peak of your life, and then you look at Shooter, and that's all he's talking about is the 1932 basketball game.
What's the Kurt Russell movie with who's it with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell, where they're his moment of football glory was his, he's been reliving that his entire life. And it's,
it's like Al Bundy. It's like Al Bundy.
Yeah.
But the other problem
wasn't that a car salesman movie? They were car salesmen or something.
Is that used cars?
No,
I think it was something else.
Anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just, again, from basketball standpoint, from a motivational standpoint, it's also a movie of redemption, because the father and son make up.
Oh yeah,
the coach gets his second chance because he screwed up royally.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but I agree with Michael with the point that there's a better movie in there. There's all this stuff that really. The problem is because they cut all that stuff so short.
The Best of Times. That was the movie I'm thinking of.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, Adam got it. Boom. Look at that.
Because they cut that so short. Let me finish if I can, Michael. Because they cut that stuff so short, it kept me from being emotionally involved with anything.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Like I did not care. At no point did I feel invested. Did I get excited? Did I get sad? I just didn't, because all the stories were just so short and so incomplete that it's like, I get what they're trying to tell me is happening, but I don't feel it.
See,
Did you say that you hate to agree with me?
I was just about it. That's all.
I partially agree. There are many threads through the movie, and some of them the editing clearly hurt. Others it didn't. I felt Shooter's story, while it could have, I think it would have benefited from more, had enough. And I think the relationship with his son had enough that I cared about that relationship. So that part worked. Their relationship and the reconciliation of their relationship, and Dennis Hopper's wonderful performance in that role, definitely really worked for me.
Got an Oscar nomination.
Yeah. I thought he won. He didn't win.
No.
Okay.
Dennis Hopper was Dennis Hoppering all over the place. Dennis Hopper gives a complex performance almost every time. They cast him to his strengths and almost everything. Same thing with Hackman. Hackman's performance was Hackman always gets cast to his strengths, and so this cast and the acting was great. I feel Barbara Hershey should get a lot more recognition than she does. I looked her up, and I had not realized she's been performing since 1966. She was in an episode of Kung Fu and had a relationship and a kid with David Carradine, which I did not know. And she's been in so many television and movies in her career, and she just needs to get more recognition for what
she gave done. a very good, very understated performance in this movie. Yeah.
Completely realistic. I bought everything she said. I just wish I saw that damn transition.
The scene of her pleading for him not to bring Jimmy back, not to try to bring Jimmy back because she wanted a future for him, read very honestly and really did work. Yeah.
And going back to the scene where they're going to vote him out, and Jimmy comes in and says, "I think it's time, that I start playing ball." And everybody's like, "See, we told you, we get rid of the coach, he'll come back." He goes, "No, he goes, I go. He stays, I stay." And then all of a sudden they vote him back in.
And
it's kind of like,
and you had no feeling for why he felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, I had a question for Dan as a coach. At the end of the movie, coach sets up a play, and the players are just like, "No." And that's how the movie ends.
I've always had a problem with that.
Thank you. I was like, wait a second. You listen to the coach. The coach has, a play for you. And it's like, no, we want to let Jimmy make the final score. Right. It's like, what?
That to me, that's wrong. But from this standpoint, here's a guy who was an arrogant coach who was win at all costs. And I guarantee when he was a college coach, if his players said that, he would have told him to sit. Just like early in the movie when the guy started shooting before the 4 passes and he told him to sit. And, they ended up playing with 4 players. He was showing that I'm in charge and you listen to me. But by the end of the movie, he's like, "You know what, kids? This is your team." And you guys feel that.
I took it.
Yeah.
And you could rewrite that ending 2 ways, which would have improved it immensely. A, that the players decide to listen to the coach and they win the game anyway because we listen to the coach and we're still a team. Or the players say, let's try to hand it to the star, and they miss the basket and they lose the game. Both endings, including the one that was there, all 3 endings would have been fine. Anyone ending was fine. I think that that ending that they went with was the least effective of the 3 that I just rewrote. But
they had to have them win because, like I said, it is loosely based on an actual, because everybody in Indiana knows that story. I didn't know it before the movie, but everybody in Indiana knows the team. Because think about it this way. Up until 1997, there were no classifications in Indiana. So if you're familiar with classifications in sports, there's single A, double A, triple A, quad A. In some school, they go up to 6A now. You're falling asleep. But you could have a school that had 64 boys in it versus a school that has 1,600 boys in it. And they would never play each other. Well, in Indiana, up until 97, it was every team had the playoffs started with everybody in it. Now they have classifications. It's still open. They don't do, everybody's in the playoffs every year. But for a team this small to win the championship, it's the only time it ever happened. So it is a huge deal in Indiana. And people that
brings me to my favorite scene in the film. When they're on the basketball court for the final, for the championship game. And Gene Hackman says, measure the hoop to the floor. How tall is it? Measure the thing. How tall is it? Same size as the court we have back home. That was
Yeah.
to me the best moment in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that one.
Agree.
However, two other things that bother me with the film. The basketball lane back in 1951, 52 was only 6 feet wide. Now it's 12 feet wide. It used to look like a key. That's why it's called the key. But it was only 6 feet. So if you look at the scenes, and I was going to pull up some pictures, and I was too lazy to today. But you can see where they painted over the actual lanes to make it look thinner. That always bothered me that they couldn't make it look better. That like you can still see the modern lanes, and you also like the roads. He's driving on a highway, and there's white lines which didn't exist yet back then. So I need to call my friend Richard Malzahn and say, can you come over and edit this for me and correct it?
So you need George Lucas to do his revisions to it and change it out.
Yeah,
The Snyder cut. Dan, do you have some facts?
We know that Raid shot first, right?
Yeah, I do actually, Eric. I do have some freaky facts.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, so freaky.
I might have more freaky facts than 5, but the coolest one. Sit back, ladies and gentlemen. The one I love one of the ones I love the most is that Dennis Hopper had just given up drinking right before this movie.
Oh my God.
So he almost said,
Perfect.
I don't want to take the part. So the scene where he's got to stagger onto the court, he remembered James Dean, who he was basically James Dean's buddy and mentor, and he was in movies with him. And he said he remembers him telling the director, give me 30 seconds before you need me to come on to be drunk. And he spun around for 30 seconds and got dizzy, and then he walked out. So he did the same thing where he only did 10 seconds, but he spun around, and then we walked down the court. He's actually staggering because it looks real.
Huh.
It's called acting. Why don't you just try that? Anyway, but the cool fact is James Dean played high school basketball in Indiana, and he actually played against the actual Milan team that won the championship. So that's that kind of gives me chills. Another cool fact, the announcer at the final game is a guy named Hillard Gates, who was actually the real life announcer of the championship game in 1954. And he did all the Indiana State basketball games, but he did that one. Jimmy Chitwood, the actor, the guy that plays him, only had 4 lines of dialogue in the whole movie.
Wait,
I think he had a total of 33 words the entire movie, and he had never acted before. He was just
never played basketball either.
Yeah, he never played organized basketball, but he could shoot like unbelievable. And he was at a church pickup game, and the scout saw him, one of the talent scouts, said, "Come audition for this," and he got it. Steve Haller, who was one of the players, he was the one that didn't listen to the coach and got taken out of the game. He actually won a state championship the year before as a junior in high school.
He also got nicked by the NCAA for getting paid for playing basketball.
Right. They fined him 3 games and 5% of his earnings.
Exactly.
They were going to make him ineligible completely to ever play in NCAA because they have an amateur rule. But they said, no, you were paid as an actor, not as a basketball player. But we're still going to suspend you 3 games.
So stupid.
Yeah. The shot at the very end of the game, Michael, just so you know, the character that played Jimmy Chitwood, it was in front of this huge crowd of 500 people. They kept moving them around because they couldn't fill the place. So they just kept moving them. But he kept missing the shot in every rehearsal. So they said, all right, when we do the final shot, whether he makes it or not, rush on the floor like he made it. Everybody act like he made it. And he actually did make it. And they had 3 cameras going, and they got the shot. And that actually happened a lot while they were filming. They kept seeing different angles of the shots, and they didn't have to edit at all. They could actually do a single shot of the shots.
Used them all. I was like,
they did. And the final thing
the
final thing I loved about this movie was there's a scene where you see Gene Hackman's character lean over and say something to Dennis Hopper's character, and you see Dennis Hopper laugh and slap his knee in one of the montages, but you can't hear what they're saying because they're not mic'd. It's just a montage. Dennis Hopper finally told the director what he said in that scene, and Gene Hackman said something to the effect of, "I hope you invested well. After this movie, we're never going to work again." And Gene Hackman almost said he thought this was the worst movie ever. He would never work on it. When they called him to do the voiceover later to do some dubbing, he's like, "I need to see the movie first, or I'm not coming in." And he went and saw it, and he said to the director, "How the hell did you do that? Holy crap! How did you make that out of what we shot?" So, and he went in and did it. And Gene Hackman said, for years, people would comment about this movie more than any of his other films.
That's crazy.
More than Lex Luthor, more than Superman, more than French Connection. This was the movie that people always comment.
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I think though that says a lot about sports movies because I love sports movies. I am not a sports fan at all. But I love Facing the Giants. I love Rudy. I love
Rudy's by the same director.
Is it?
I knew
it was better.
And writer too.
I could just tell.
But it just those movies always speak to me, and I know I'm not the only person in the world, and so that's why I think it did so well. Now I'm not a basketball fan either, so that's why I've only seen it maybe twice, and I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember it.
And I also,
didn't.
Just the fact that the manager got to play that, that hit home for me too because I was the manager.
Yeah. That was cool. I thought that was awesome.
Number 13.
Now, my question, Dan. When they put 4 players on the team at the beginning, was that legal? Could they do that? Okay,
Yep.
I didn't know that. I was confused.
We had to do that by choice, or not by choice. We only, one time I had a JV team. I was coaching at Quigley Catholic High School. I know, a Jewish guy to Catholic school, but we only had 7 players, and 1 got injured. Now we had 6. 1 fouled out. Now we had 5. Like no one fouled out, and 1 fouled out, and we learned what the 2-2 zone looks like.
Okay, 36 minutes for whoever had the over-under on the first Jewish reference.
Where's Gary?
No, I actually this time I was doing a what the hell was the reference? Not the Jewish, the thing that Eric said. The Zack Snyder cut reference. That was tonight's over-under.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Also, I had Gary's score. Don't let me forget to give it to you when it's my turn to rate.
Okay, are we ready to rate?
Denise,
Denise
needs to talk about the movie. Denise, did you watch it?
I watched the movie. I came out all feet up for you guys. I dug this out of the closet. I'm actually drinking a beer that is the color of a basketball and from Bloomington, Indiana. I didn't know they had a brewery. And this cup was one of the bars in Bloomington. So I was really excited to go back to Hoosiers.
You were so well accessorized for that.
I'm enjoying the accessories not as much as I enjoyed the movie. I really wanted to like this movie, and I did not. But
yeah, I feel you.
I was actually really concerned about coming because I know it's beloved. Everyone loves it. It's in
all of us have put movies we love out there.
Historically significant. But I didn't like it for all the reasons already said. And I am so thrilled to hear that it was cut down so much because, at the beginning, it was predictable. He sees her on the stairs. There's a million other teachers, but of course he picks out the one that's mean to him and then falls in love with him for no explained reason.
Yeah.
He's 21 years older than her too, by the way.
It was a little boring to me. I won't say boring. I wasn't I didn't engage with the characters. I didn't care about them. They won the championship. I was like, meh, we must get on this to the end. To Michael's point, I kind of wanted them to lose because I thought there'd be more of a lesson to that. You can't just get everything you want. I just didn't feel invested in the characters. I wanted to know more about the kids on the team. Pretty much everything everyone said. Didn't love it. My favorite part of the movie was during some of the, 2 favorite parts, but definitely, the scene spoken earlier when they were measuring the basketball stuff, that actually struck an emotional chord. I was like, oh, that's really sweet and thoughtful. I liked his approach to that. But my other favorite part was in one of the montage scenes when they were playing all the teams, and I got to see all the cities my friends from college lived in. So I had a connection too.
Well, the one thing I wanted, and I was going to pull this clip, but I figured we'd probably get tagged for it, was they actually have a town named Burdine or Burdine. And I thought, where's Rick Burdine when we need him? And my other favorite was Ulatik. I just loved the name Ulatik.
I know. That was crazy. I thought it was initials for something at first.
Yes, we do. We've got Spirit. How about you?
And the movie was named overseas renamed because nobody knew what Hoosier meant outside of the U.S., including probably a large chunk of the U.S.
Okay. Can I ask? I still don't know what Hoosier is.
Same.
I went to school there, and I was like so excited to buy a sweatshirt with the Hoosier on it. And like there was a very lengthy book club or a conversation with a woman in the bookstore where I kept asking, like, no, I want the shirt with the Hoosier on it. And she's like, well, this one has the word. And I'm like, no, I want a picture of the Hoosier. And she was like, it's just the word. Like I did not realize. In 4 years, I was still trying to understand what is a Hoosier, and the best answer I got was a person from Indiana.
I would love to give you the answer. You ready? They were called Hoosiers men. Eventually, all Indianans were called Hoosiers. A theory attributed to Governor Joseph Wright derived Hoosier from an Indian word for corn, husa. I thought it was maize. Indiana floatmen taking corn or maize to New Orleans came to be known as Husa men or Hoosiers. That's where it came from, way back when.
Oh my gosh,
Basically,
thank
corn.
you. I
you
have
go.
been wondering that for years.
Husa men.
Also, a Hoosier is actually a cabinet. Can you see that? That looks
Yeah.
like this.
Yes.
Very old. My husband's grandmother had one in her kitchen when she passed 10, 20
That's what I thought the
years
movie
ago.
was going to be about.
Exactly.
Gotta get that on a
Very
sweatshirt.
disappointed. It was
So that's what
actually-
I know of a Hoosier.
And Gene Hackman is actually in that cabinet.
Oh.
No, it's open. He's not in it.
Ah, you ruined it for me.
It's a magic cabinet. Just ask Mike.
Close it back up and it'll go good. All right, I think
Must
we're
be
ready.
magic.
I think it's time to put numbers to all this conversation.
The EriDan rating bot 6000 is now activated.
All right, so this is the moment where we rate the reel. I will pull up the big scoreboard of where we've been so far. As always, Back to the Future holds the number one spot. Howard the Duck holds the final spot at the moment. We're looking for a number somewhere in between 1 and 100.
It's the Leah Thompson sandwich. And my over under was 45 minutes until somebody said, "Who's your daddy?" And there, Adam wins it. I was waiting. I knew someone would hit it within 45 minutes.
Wow, that was awesome.
I honestly I thought it'd be Gary, but he's not here. And it would have been.
No, Gary had to work. He could not make it tonight.
And it would have been Gary. He would have said it within the first 10 minutes, I'm sure. Let me also start by saying one other thing. I didn't write this movie. I didn't star in this movie. I don't really care what your score is. Don't give it a better score because of me. Because I loved it. It's one of my favorite. I know.
No worries.
No. I think that's the understanding. If you put up a movie that you love, you are doing so understanding that there might be someone who discovers it and ends up being like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did this. This is great. I love this movie now. But there might also be people who say, yeah, I never saw that before, and I really did not enjoy it. But yeah, so.
By the way, if you vote low, you're dead to me.
Do you want to be on a shirt at EriDan shop?
Do you want to start this, Dan?
Nope.
Why don't you start this since this is your movie?
All right, I'll start it. Literally, I get Back to the Future in 99. That's my number one favorite movie. I don't think there is a 100 movie out there. I give this a 98.
With all those things that you didn't like about it, you still scored it that high?
I will watch this movie every year. I will coach again someday, and I will still watch this movie because I tear up every time I watch this movie. Just because of the stuff I've experienced in coaching as well.
Yeah.
Right. You have an emotional connection to this movie. And I get that. I totally understand that. Is anybody else?
Well, hold on. Adam does say he's highly offended when we take the piss out of a movie he recommends. So there you go, Super Trooper.
Well, then you should not recommend Super
Trooper. Yeah. I didn't rate Super Trooper that bad, I don't think.
I could go.
Although when Adam gave us Jacob's Ladder, which was not a bad film.
Yeah. Well, Michael, why don't to contrast Dan's score? Why don't we hear yours?
Go for it.
All right. To redo the issues. Now, I love a good period film, and 1951 in the opening, I went, "Oh, good. Maybe I'll like the movie." And they did a great job with the period stuff, but I felt like they didn't use it enough. I would have liked to see a little more 1951 stuff in it. Again, formulaic, but like I said, a formula movie done correctly doesn't make it a bad movie. And in it, buried underneath all of that was a good film. But when you took the most important scene and denigrated it by leaving out the most important stuff for that scene, you lost a lot of points for me. When you repeated that last second shot, you didn't need to. We didn't need it twice. We did not need it twice.
One was a free throw. You have to understand basketball. Free throw is different.
I understand
than hitting the
basketball.
shot
You know
with the
something?
shot.
Let me explain something about Michael Menza. I
boy.
was a sports. I played the sports when I was a kid. I was on a
I
little
played
league
the
team.
sport.
Yeah.
I was on a little league
Sports
team.
ball.
We went to the championship 2 times when I was on.
I know all about the sports.
That's right. I was on the soccer team in high school. I ran track senior year. I was a martial arts student and then a teacher later on. So I do the sports. I stopped playing sports when the teams stopped caring about the team and started caring about where the players can go to make the most money.
I have a master's
Yeah.
degree in the sports.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fortunately, this film was not that problem. Now, I did not hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it, and I had seen bits and pieces of it before. I tried to watch it before, but couldn't get that far into it because I could see what was coming. There's some comfort in the formula. There is. So I'm giving it, me personally, I give it a solid C. It's a 73. Gary didn't give a full explanation, but he did say, let them know that I want to rate it an 83, I think he said. I'll double check to make sure. But I'm pretty sure he said 83. So that's the rating from this end of the
tonight.
I will say that I'm a horrible athlete. I was not a good player, but I was involved in a lot of I was always the worst player on the best team. I got very lucky. You know, in 4th grade, we won the Little League championship in basketball. And my, sophomore year, we won the basketball championship. I was an assistant coach on a state championship team. I won a league championship as a head coach. So, yeah, this movie's been inspirational to me. That's all. I'm done talking.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. It's everything he is. But go ahead, say what you got to say.
You're in charge, Eric.
I thought when I spoke earlier, I did have a question, and it sounds like Dan is the person to answer it. So there was a scene early on when the lynch mob comes in because they're going to take back the coaching. And I think it was that really grouchy looking guy that was always throwing side eye and said something to the effect of look at them practicing without a ball. Was conditioning not a part of sports in the 1950s?
No, that was what he did was revolutionary. And there's actually a coach, God, forgetting his name, Wampum High School near us where we grew up.
Wampum had a high school?
Yeah, Wampum had a high school. It's now Mohawk, I believe.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
But I believe it was I can't remember his name, but he did things and I used some of these tricks. He taught kids how to juggle, and he used work gloves when they're playing basketball. He took some air out of the ball, so they got used to having to push the ball harder, and just doing these weird things. And Coach Miller at Blackhawk, he was all about conditioning. We were always in better shape than the other team. We could always outlast the other team.
Right.
So
I thought that was typical in coaching. So I didn't realize that was not standard in the 50s.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that explains it.
Yeah, and they were all, everything was. How do they scrimmage with only 7 kids? That's the other part. How do you play 5-on-5? You can't. You need 10 to play 5-on-5. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing they were talking.
But those scenes gave some validity to the cliche that a ragtag group of underdogs could make it all the way to the championship because they were being coached in a way that no one else was coaching them. So that lended to some of the gave some reality to what was otherwise a cliche.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Stacy, do you have a number for us?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a C because it was missing pieces. And I mean, I could have really been engaged in the movie at all, because it's a sports movie and it's the underdog and all that. And I liked Gene Hackman's portrayal of this coach. I loved Dennis Hopper as the drunk dad and his relationship with his son. And I think it was Michael was saying earlier, or maybe it was Dave, that there was enough of that. It could have used a little more, but I really thought it was good. And how he got him to come coach with him, but you have to be sober. I loved that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say a 75 because it lacked a lot of story. The Barbara Hershey, they're 18 years apart, and she was not lovable at all. No redeeming qualities to her at all, and I just don't like her. So that's
personal.
Casting makes a lot of difference to a movie, for everybody. I think if you see somebody you don't like the movie last week, It's Complicated. I can't stand Alec Baldwin, and I wanted to watch that movie so bad and be here, and I just didn't care. So it comes back to casting for that part there. But
John Krasinski was excellent in it.
He is really good. He is really good.
So 75.
75. All right, Dave, how about you?
Yeah, as everyone agrees, it's not a perfect movie. And no movie is, but this one more than most in the sense that you could sense that a better movie was just there, which hurt. I'll disagree with some of the things that were said. I don't think there was too much basketball. What I will agree with was they needed a little more time to differentiate between the games and not just sort of run them all together, where it became a hodgepodge. I also felt that especially for the first half of the movie, with the exception of the short kid, I couldn't tell any of the players apart. It took me half the movie to be able to somewhat identify who is who. Now, I realize it's because they're all tall Midwestern white guys with the same haircut. So I understand that that's part of it, but it could have been done better in that regard.
I still don't know their names. I don't know any of their names.
Not even
Ray? The only name I know in that entire movie is Jenny. I don't know anyone else's name. Like, got to the end and I was like, who else was in there besides Jenny? And that's because everyone's like, well, Jimmy's going to play. Like, that's
Well, they all had nicknames the whole movie. And what was cool too is when he before the state championship, he's got all the names of the players of the other team written on the board. Those are actually the names of the actors playing the basketball players. Those were their last names.
That's fine.
Not the team they were playing. Did Denise give a score, by the way?
Oh, no, David
hasn't yet. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So I agree with those criticisms, maybe not to the same degree as the people who levied them, but I agree with all of them. On the other hand, we had 3 wonderful performances, more than 3 really, because Hackman was excellent. Hopper was even better. And Hershey was very, very good. And the men who played the townsfolk, wonderful job from them. Absolutely believable. That they were so set in their ways that this outsider wasn't going to tell them how to do anything, that they knew how to do this and he didn't. And it was just well played, not overplayed, well played. And that was really nice. Like I said, the kids sort of all blended together. That was a downside. One scene I loved, and it was short, was when Hackman almost sent the kid out whose stitches had popped open, and you could see him turn his back, stop and pause for just a couple seconds, and then bench him. And that's when you knew he was, again, sort of fighting that tendency that had gotten him in trouble in the first place, which is winning is what matters. And he forced it down. And you know he's someone who's still fighting that demon. And that was, for such a small scene, that played a lot into his character.
And the camera went right to Barbara Hershey, and that's where she fell in love with him.
No, that's where I did too. Agreed.
Wow.
You're reaching.
And then he said, Miss Desmarker!
With all that said, I enjoyed it. And it's a movie I've long wanted to see because I do love Gene Hackman. I mean, he has been in so many great films. I have seen bad films with Gene Hackman. I've never seen Gene Hackman be bad. Yeah. And there's very few actors I can say that about. And so because I still enjoyed it despite the flaws, I'm not going to rate the movie. I'm not going to compare it to the movie that could have been, much as I'd like to. So I go a little above what some of the people have said and give it a 78.
There you go. Awesome.
There was a quick interjection. I love the moment where he gets in the argument with the ref and tells him, kick me out of the game, so that he has to force Hopper. That was another good moment.
Yeah.
Those were some of the things that...
Yeah. And right following that, the panic on Hopper's face.
Yeah.
It's just wonderfully played. Absolutely wonderful.
Those are the reasons why I wasn't in the 50s with the rating.
We're going to run the picket fence.
Well, his son bailing him out there when he was just panicking and couldn't say anything. And for the first time, his son threw him a bone. And that was a key moment.
All right, Reagan, do you have a number for us?
Yeah. I kind of like go back and forth with it because I was bored with it for a couple different reasons. And I'm not going to penalize the basketball because that's the movie that it was about basketball. It was about a basketball team. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I like surfing and I don't expect people to care about that in a movie, you know? So just because I do. So I didn't have a problem with that kind of stuff. but even though there were pieces missing and everything like that, I really loved what it was actually about, which was the teamwork. And I really loved the scene whenever the guys walked out of the practice, I think it was, and the dad came back and was like, go ahead, say your words, apologize, go in. Like, I love that stuff because my generation does not care about that stuff, and it drives me insane. So I just think I love those values in any movie, regardless of what it is. And so that really got me with it. But there wasn't a lot of it. That was like the moral of the story, but a lot of pieces were missing that it just didn't portray that usually. But I agree with Denise also saying that they shouldn't have won at the end. I understand why they did, and I don't have a problem with it, but I think also like the lesson learned, because that's what it was about for me. So I don't know. I think that I would go a 70 just because there are pieces that I love, there are pieces that I didn't, and I'm kind of in the middle with it, but I don't really have a problem with it. It's just technical disorganization and stuff like that.
Excellent. No, that's excellent. Adam in the comments. We'll just get this one out, pull this Band-Aid off. He says, well, the acting was good and the story was cliche. The movie was pretty boring overall. So he gives it a 50.
Isn't that what he gave us? Complicated?
No, it's complicated. He went lower.
Yeah, it's complicated. Adam gave a 40. So yeah. So
this film was a much better one than that snooze fest.
Oh, and Dan's mother gives it a 97.
See, in the Rosenberg house, this is a very important movie.
This is that's excellent.
And like my mom says, she loved the movie. It was her life during her kids' high school years. So she grew up in the 50s, and this movie came out in the 80s. It's probably why we like Back to the Future so much as well.
That's true. All right, Denise. This is Denise's first time with us for the movie, Joe.
Okay, you guys, I'm feeling really conflicted about this because, like I said, I wanted to like it, and I've never given a score before. So I was wondering, like, maybe I should just pass on the score because
come on, you watched it. You watched it.
I mean, I actually watched it.
Be honest.
Yeah,
be honest. We want your honesty.
Do you want to show her the list again so she can compare it to maybe another movie?
It'll probably be higher than Adam's.
I don't think I've seen any of the movies on this list.
You've seen none of these movies. Wow.
Yeah, she watches more.
I have seen a few. Okay, all right.
You've never seen Airplane?
Yes.
Austin Powers, When Harry Met Sally.
So, I mean, you can use this if it's helpful as or you have what everybody else had to say and where they landed it with their score.
Right. So my thoughts on this, I mean, I shared that I know this is controversial, but I felt like many of the characters were caricatures and everyone loved acting. I didn't. Obviously I'm in the wrong because all the critics loved it. It didn't connect with me. It didn't resonate with me. I felt like it was a little over the top, Dennis Hopper, but I mean, he was nominated for Academy Award, so what do I know? So my thoughts on this, I'm trying to like take this because it's the first thing I've seen and the first thing I've scored. So I'm going with like, all right, would I watch it again? Threshold. So that's going to give me like kind of my midpoint. I wouldn't, but it's very difficult and I feel so bad. And Dan, I apologize, but I'm going to,
I didn't write it.
65. I'll be nice.
All right.
And I will partially agree with you. The Dennis Hopper performance at times was excellent. When he was in the sanitarium, it got a little over the top.
Oh, yeah.
It was a little
But when he was with the team, when he was with his son, when he was with Gene Hackman, those were wonderfully played. When he got in the sanitarium, he overplayed it.
You know, I think what it is, he wasn't acting with anybody at that point. Like he's talking to the nurse, she's not paying attention to him.
Right.
So he's kind of doing a monologue in a way.
Yeah.
And Dennis Hopper actually in the movie, in the script, he was supposed to go to the championship. He was supposed to like leave the sanitarium and show up at the game. And he said, you know what? No, this guy's taking sobriety seriously. He would not do that. And so they changed it and left him there and listened to it on the radio.
That's a good change, too. That's a good
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
That goes to
I
what
like
I said
that.
earlier about he was Dennis Hoppering all over the place. That was an example of
Just
that.
to show, I mean, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Of all the other people nominated for Best Supporting Actor, they were all in films that were also nominated for Film of the Year, and he was not. That was how good of an actor he was.
Who beat him
Denise,
out?
don't be upset. Don't worry about offending anyone. There's no such thing as right or wrong. Last week, all these clowns rated that film so good. They were all wrong. So it's okay.
I feel guilty because usually I'm very generous with scoring on things, and I tend to be very kind. So I feel really bad.
You're setting the marker for now. You'll judge every other movie from.
You're too nice for this crowd.
This is going to be like that. Everything that will now be judged against
you. Need to be
look who I'm between here. I've got nice on one side, and maybe Adam can out nasty Mike, but that'd be the only one.
It's all honest. Okay, I think I'm the only one left to share a score, and I'm going to do this quickly because everybody has already said everything 400 times the same way. Bottom line is, if it wasn't for this cast, I would have rated it like Adam did. Because this was not my movie. I'm not a sports movie guy. I kind of wasn't invested. I had no emotion in it. But I thought for the performances for me were awesome. Like I thought everybody, this cast and their performances were great. So I did enjoy that. So I gave it a 70. I think that's everybody for the ratings.
I think it's middle column category.
We have definitely landed in the middle column. We'll take a look in case there's somebody who wants to rate who's lurking in the comments. So we'll visit what the final score is in a little bit. Now, very exciting times for us here is we are going to now visit the Wheel of Reels to get ready for next week's double feature. And as you know, for our show next week, for our show next week, it's going to be May.
It's gonna be May.
Okay, thank you. Saving that all day. All right, thank you. All right, so we've got our double feature wheel hooked up and ready to go. And what we're doing something very special. We are not suggesting movies to put on the Wheel of Reels. We are putting the names of everybody who is here, assuming that you have 2 movies that you would suggest that we watch.
I had the same idea. I had the same idea independently of you two guys. I was overjoyed when I was talking to Eric about it the other day, and he said, "Oh yeah, we had that exact idea." That was very cool.
And I assume that means people who are not in the video as well, correct?
Right. Anybody who's in the comments.
If you're in the comments, so Dan's mother, unless somebody's out there doesn't have one. Let me know and speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah,
mine is Hoosiers and Rudy. Oh, look.
We were doing rewatches.
Gary. Oh, Gary's.
Hey.
Do his intro.
We've got so many people involved tonight. This is great. So I'm assuming, Dan, can you confirm with your mom or Dan's mom? Let us know in the comments for sure if you do have a double feature you could join us for. Oh, my goodness gracious. This is getting magical here. We've got to bring in some people. Get ready. Here we go.
Okay, Gary, you have my attention.
And as if that wasn't enough, I can't even find it.
All I can say is holy crap.
Are you ready? Hold on, I can't find it.
Do I get to say anything?
No. This is a mess.
No. We got Ray to come in.
How are you?
We got your score already, Gary.
I broke every speed limit known to mankind to get here from the strip to my house. So just for you people,
you didn't use Elon Musk's
I did this
tunnel?
all for you. All right.
Wow, we appreciate that very much.
I learned it by watching you.
And a magical night. Adam, not in the comments. What is up with that?
Oh, Duck Dynasty's here.
So I was the last one here.
No, well, Adam's been in the comments all night.
Oh,
every night.
Hey, Gary, I got a quick question. Gary, were you listening? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Gary, were you listening when earlier Dan said you would be the one to say who's your daddy? Is that why you did that on your
you
title?
really say that? No. Being serious? No. I started listening.
He said you would be the first.
I started listening about 10 minutes ago, and
I knew he'd do Who's Your Daddy.
Wow. See, great minds.
Sorry, Adam, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please tell us what you were going to say.
Oh, I just said I just got home from work, so.
Well, we're so thankful that you're here. Now, does everybody have 2 movies that they would recommend for a double feature for next week if your name is chosen?
Yes,
I have 2 sets of 2.
Denise is shaking her head.
Denise is saying no.
Denise, you will not get a spot in the wheel.
If Denise's name gets chosen, then what? We get a.
Oh no,
just
just
don't
don't
put
put my name on
the
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be
You won't
picking,
get an extra.
I'll be
an
picking
extra.
Hoosiers and
referee.
Rudy.
Wait, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear what Denise was saying. Do you want your name on the wheel or no? No. Okay. I'm leaving Denise off the wheel. I do have a spot for your mother, Dan, because she has definitely recommended movies in the past. So hopefully, if her name is chosen, she will. She'll be prepared. I don't know. I guess.
Oh, your sister would like to be added to the wheel.
Oh, excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, this is great.
It's a much bigger wheel than I expected.
We have got it is a lot much bigger wheel than I expected.
Yeah, I want to pick a good one.
Oh, we're back on the left again. We were on the right the other day.
Thought we each take a good one.
Oh, that is interesting, isn't it?
Like,
wait,
these 2 and these 2.
So how this will
these
work?
ones and you do those ones?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll spin the wheel.
Mom, would you like to be
whoever's name comes up, you will get to choose our double feature for next Monday. They don't have to be, they can be movies that are associated with each other. They can just be random. Whatever you choose is totally fine. I think we're locked. Is everybody ready to go?
Wait, let's give my mother a chance because she's sometimes on a little bit of delay.
Okay.
Because she's 3 miles away.
We just need to know if she'd have a choice. If
you don't have to pick your movies, Mom. Just say. By the way, I am picking Hoosiers and Rudy. Just so you know.
I thought we weren't supposed to do rewatches.
No, we're not doing rewatches.
I don't care.
We're going to abbreviate it as Hootie. Hootie.
Right,
Yeah.
I'll be Hootie. Hootie and the Blowfish. That's my movie.
Oh, well, I would enjoy that.
I honestly have not picked 2 movies, so I don't think I'll be picked. So
you're already.
I am. I'll be.
Well, while we wait for Dan's mom, we will talk about the fine merch available.
All right.
EriDan.com.
Wear it next time.
If you would like to have this lovely I survived a name drop with EriDan shirt, it is now available in both men's and women's sizes.
I think it's just something that appears.
There's an Aglet shirt.
There is an Aglet shirt with the patent drawing from an Aglet.
You know what I'm talking about.
Wait, is this for real?
Yeah,
you can totally order these. I'm going to have a water bottle. This is probably what I'm going to order. It will be the
I just want to say my birthday is in 1 month, and as a member approaching my 50th show, I think a great gift for me would be a name drop sweatshirt or T-shirt.
There are
size large.
Not everybody gets it.
Awesome, are available in multiple colors as well. You can get a name drop face mask.
Give them. Be nice. Give them a 5% discount.
There is a 15% discount here at the top of the page. So
Give them free shipping if you order $200 worth.
I'm going to take this one.
Absolutely.
By the way,
make sure you order.
Eric.
Yes,
my mom is
I
in.
really love this one.
Your mom's in.
Can we order this? Can we order this
Anyway.
stuff? Can we order this stuff on Wish? Is that where we get
It's all Wish.
Dan, we get this
Oh,
on
it's
Wish?
your best wish.
Dan is set up a sweatshop in his garage, and
No. Maybe Dan's
Indonesian children
drone will deliver it to us.
Oh my goodness! All right, I think we got to spin. We got to find out. I'm going to shuffle the wheel,
Oh, boy,
and we're going to tip the spin. Everybody sees their name on there, right? Are we missing anything? I think I got everything.
I can't take
I
the
think
suspense.
there's one mistake. I don't think
Last.
Michael belongs on there.
Huh?
No,
Oh,
wait,
it's
I got
Michael
that wrong.
Sorry.
By the way, Michael, your birthday is next month. So is Eric's.
Oh,
That's true.
Oh, cool. What date? Mine's May 27.
He's
Mine's
28.
The day after 28th. How about that?
wow.
Oh, cool.
Aw,
All right, let's do this.
Uh-oh.
I'm so excited.
We got Dave. Oh my goodness, Dave.
Dave's not here.
Dave, who had last double feature,
Right.
but truly by half.
I'm tempted to tell you to respin, just in the interest of fairness.
Yes.
Go ahead and respin.
No, this
Oh,
was
you win. I like your movies, Dave. You pick.
Well, how come last week when Dan said respin, we did? Now Dave.
Well, Dan's part of EriDan.
Dave's
It's
choices.
different.
yes, yeah, it's a little different.
I do have a
Dave's choices.
I do have a question for you, Mike. I actually wanted to consult you on this.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
I was leaning heavily toward Billy Wilder,
Ooh.
and
Okay.
I definitely decided on The Apartment.
Oh,
But for the second one, I was debating between Some Like It Hot and Stalag 17.
So like 17.
Oh, why did you have to name those two? I was going to instantly say something like it hot, then you went Stalag 17.
How How about
And I love them both for different reasons. Some Like It Hot is just a great flat-out comedy.
How about the
And if you grew up watching Hogan's Heroes and have never seen Stalag 17, you need to see it.
Why don't you make those two your movie then?
Because I need to see The Apartment. It's my all-time favorite Billy Wilder movie.
Can we do a triple header?
Oh, I know what Gary would say. Gary would instantly jump to Some Like It Hot.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Some Like It Hot.
And I think maybe there's a better contrast between The Apartment and Some Like It Hot, which I kind of like.
I would have thought there'd be better contrast with the other way because The Apartment does have some comedy in it, whereas Stalag 17 is pretty heavy. All right, wait. How many people here have seen Some Like It Hot? And how many have seen Stalag 17?
I've seen Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, so the number's the same.
Yeah, me
that
too.
didn't help me. That didn't help my decision.
Yeah. I think Adam's already out.
I hate you for giving this to me.
Well, I'm not making you decide. I was asking your opinion.
Yeah. Well, my opinion is they're both such good choices. I can't. I would say you have to decide how much of a comedy is The Apartment, and then if you think it's less of a comedy, go with Some Like It Hot. If you think it's more of a comedy, go with 17.
I view The Apartment about 60% drama, 40 comedy. And I view Stalag 17 as about 20% comedy, 80 drama. And Some Like It Hot's 100% comedy. So, I'll tell you what, because I drew the straw, and I'm more satisfied that people will love Some Like It Hot than they'll love Stalag 17, I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to say The Apartment and Some Like It Hot.
There it is.
Nice.
Nicely done. Excellent.
Nice.
So those will be our movies.
Oh, I just realized the reason why we could have said Stalag 17 because both films share a main actor.
Oh yeah.
That would have been the reason to go with 17.
Well, one of the reasons I like The Apartment and Some Like It Hot is Jack Lemmon and Billy Wilder, who are a great team.
Yeah, I like the choice. It's good idea.
All right, there we go. Nice. Excellent. All right, so those are the movies. We will do a little research here and find out if those are streaming anywhere or other ways to watch those while we discuss what else people are watching.
Go to your...
And I'm sorry, I cut Stacey off. Stacey, go ahead, please.
Do it.
Go to your library and ask them to get the movie for you for free.
Yeah, or if you have the Hoopla app, which ties into the library system, you can actually rent movies online from your local library.
Some libraries.
Some
Beaver
libraries.
County Library System does not have Hoopla.
No, that's true. Yeah, Northland does. So, another thing I would suggest is the order. I would prefer it to be The Apartment and then Some Like It Hot, just in case people don't enjoy The Apartment. I have a problem figuring that. I can't imagine somebody not liking Some Like It Hot. So let's do it in that order if people don't mind.
Some like it hot. Some like it hot.
Some Like It Hot is streaming on Amazon Prime. That much I know.
So Dave, if I do it the other way, are you going to know? I mean, are you going to?
It's just a suggestion.
We'll talk about it next week.
It's purely a suggestion.
We will talk about The Apartment first, and then we'll talk about something.
But yes, I will know.
Okay. Now, as far as what else you're watching, Adam, I have to say I finally watched Law and Order: Organized Crime.
Yeah.
The new, I love it.
Yes.
Elliot Stabler, fantastic. What's his name? Forgetting his name already.
Dylan McDermott.
Yeah, Dylan McDermott. I'm always confusing with the other one.
Dermot Mulroney.
Dermot Mulroney, one of the two. Dylan McDermott was in a TV show called LA to Vegas where he played an airline pilot, and it was a comedy.
That was a great show.
That was awful.
Who said it was awful?
I thought it was awful.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, we don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Shut up, Menza.
He was so funny in that show as the pilot. He had the mustache trimmed just perfect. It was all about the mustache because pilots have to have a mustache. It was such a funny show. So to see him in this movie and this show as a prick is so awesome.
The Apartment is not streaming anywhere. You have to rent it from everywhere that you can rent it from. It's $3.99.
Oh, that's easy.
That's not bad. So last week we did a preemptive spin, and a movie came up that Dan decided to forfeit on. The movie was Time Lapse, and so we offered anybody bonus points if they wanted to watch that as well. Has anybody watched Time Lapse this week?
I don't even remember that.
You know what? It's funny. I realized as I went to watch it, I'm like, oh, I've seen this already. So I have.
I did watch it as well. Dave watched it too, and I'm really glad we didn't talk about that this week.
Yeah, it was rough.
It wasn't bad.
No,
it wasn't good either.
But it was. It showed its budget a bit, and it was as a movie of that sort is intended to be confusing.
But I think it's like, oh, your mind's supposed to be blown right now, and it's like, nah, my mind's not really exactly blown right now.
Feels like it.
And I couldn't get over the fact that the main actress is Killer Frost from The Flash.
Yeah, of the three main actors, she's had by far the most successful career.
She has. And it was fine. It was not a waste of my life, but it was not. I would not recommend for anybody to go out and purposely watch it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, anybody else? What else have you guys been watching besides Hoosiers this week?
I've got a few. I watched on Amazon Prime early access. I watched The Courier with Benedict Cumberbatch, based on a Cold War guy recruited by the CIA, Grenville Wynn, who got together with a guy high up in the Russian political spectrum. Then the two of them got together to smuggle stuff out of Russia to stop nuclear war. It was really, really a well put together film. Really well put together.
Cumberbatch is good. He is really good.
Yes, Cumberbatch is good. I also watched. If you like film noir, there's a detective show on HBO Max called CB Strike. The Cuckoo's Calling is the first chapter. It's a series from the BBC with Thomas Burke. It's really good if you like if you're into the film noir detective stuff. I watched the TV series Be Positive, which is cute, not great, but cute. I'm rewatching My Fair Lady, but I have to mention this. I watched Mortal Kombat.
Oh yes, I've
now. Here's the thing: the original Mortal Kombat was a movie that didn't need to be made, and it was later a TV series which didn't need to be made. And this version of Mortal Kombat didn't need to be made. It looks great. It looks better than all the other iterations of the thing. The action is fantastic. Adam, you'd probably love it because the action is just so good. There's no real plot, but but if you're a fan of the game, I always felt with a lot of video games to films, if you're a fan of the game, you'd rather be playing it than watching it. And that's what I get from this movie. I don't think you needed this movie, because if you like the game, you'd rather be playing it than watching it.
I think the best game-based movie I've ever seen, and I'm not saying it's a great movie because it's not, but at least it worked, was Clue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially because it had multiple endings.
And the worst was Battleship.
I'm gonna fight you on that one, because among my viewing this week was I somehow ended up watching Blood Rain, which is based on a video game, which honestly should have been an okay movie. They have the actress from the Terminator movie, whose name has escaped me.
Linda Hamilton.
No, not her. not that actress. Not that Terminator movie. Not that high budget. Much lower budget. Christina Loken. But also Ben Kingsley is in it. Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Michael Madsen is in it. And it's terrible. It gets a 4 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
And the problem is
a 4 out of 100.
Yes. It's super cheesy. It's super bad, but it's so bad that it's good. It's sort of like, because it's a story. She's half human, half vampire. So it's like Blade, but like produced by Hot Topic.
No, not about it.
That's a nice description.
Is that it's watchable just because it's so cheesy and so bad. But then there are 2 sequels. So not only is she fighting vampires in olden days in the first movie, in the second movie it's in the Wild West.
It's Back to the Future.
Bad enough. In the third movie it's World War III. It's Blood Rain, the Third Reich.
So one in the past, one in the Old West, and one in the future. It's Back to the Future.
Oh man.
It sounds more like Howard the Duck.
Yeah, so if you really hate yourself,
Go for it.
Go for it. Exactly.
One bit of trivia that I forgot to mention. So back to time lapse for a second. John Rhys Davies had a part in that, and they completely cut out all of his scenes. You have this low budget film with no name actors, and you have John Rhys Davies, and you cut his scenes. What were they thinking?
Oh.
He probably had some sort of a deal where they had to pay him if he was actually in the movie.
No, apparently they actually apologized to him for cutting his scenes.
Jeez.
My mom watched The Sound of Metal and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which sounds racist.
No, it just
Rainey's Black Bottom was a nominee.
I know.
Yeah, it sounds like she was doing an Oscars viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
the
Sound of
Oscars.
Metal has been on my list. And although I didn't watch it just now, I do also want to recommend My Octopus Teacher, because I watched that early on in quarantine and it was fantastic, and it was nominated for documentary film and I believe won. So maybe your mom's seen it. I might be on an island with these documentaries. This is why I don't add things to your bill. But anyway, My Octopus Teacher was lovely. The other thing I was watching.
Gary's a big documentary guy. You two should get together and do like a watch thing from, across the stuff.
Oh, I have so many fashion documentaries I've been watching this quarantine.
Across the
It's been
stuff.
great.
Oh, give me like your top 10, Denise. Text it
Like
to
a
me.
series of 2.
I know, right?
Seriously, I love documentaries.
Oh, the other thing I was watching this week, again, I might be on an island with this, but it was RuPaul's Drag Race season 13.
Isn't Emma watching that?
Yeah.
For a little variety.
You are not only on an island, you're on an uncharted island with that one.
Yep.
My younger daughter is watching that.
3
Oh,
hours.
me.
Or...
Oh, good. Okay, we're going to have to talk about our favorite queens. And the other thing I was watching, I know I'm super behind on the times on this one, but I watched The Affair. Or I finished The Affair. It was old Showtime show. The first 2 seasons were pretty hot, but the last one I feel like they just lost it. That was like a jump the shark kind of a season for me. So that's all I've been watching.
Can I give a quick update? The best supporting actor in that year was Michael Caine won for Hannah and Her Sisters.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I like him too.
Also up that year, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe for Platoon, and Denholm Elliott for A Room with a View, and Dennis Hopper. So he lost to good people.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, definitely. So Gary, I think I brought this up before you were joining the show. Not tonight, it's just a few months ago. Have you ever seen the series Documentary Now?
No.
It is I think it airs on the Independent Film Channel, and it's on at least one of the streaming services. It's done by John Mulaney, Seth Meyers, Joe Hader, Fred Armisen, and it's a series that spoofs documentaries and does it brilliantly. So if you are a lover of documentaries, I think you will love that series.
Documentary Now.
Documentary Now.
Yeah, it's a comedy satire. It's very good, or comedy parody. And some of the stuff you parody are actual documentaries.
Yeah, a lot of them are actual documentaries. Most of them even. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like if Mel Brooks, did documentaries.
It's a Saturday Night Live crowd. I got it.
It is really well done. The one with Cate Blanchett that was in I think the last is absolutely brilliant. There's some really excellent episodes.
I will watch it. I'm already into it. Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else watch anything?
I just started Cobra Kai. Finished the first season of Cobra Kai again. For those that haven't been paying attention,
I already did last time.
I just got the whole streaming thing, so I'm a little, as Adam's name says, I'm a little late to the party. But
you're watching shows across the thing now.
Yeah.
Across the stuff.
Across the stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Add that to your
Sorry.
t-shirt.
I expected very, very little from basically a remake of a movie from 30 plus years ago, 30, almost 40 years ago.
It's not a remake. It's a
the story.
it's a sequel, really.
It's okay. But I expected very little, and it's entertaining. I find myself kind of fascinated by the different characters and the young folk they bring in. So, so I liked it. That's it. I gave up on The Crown. Don't like that.
Oh,
no.
I like The Crown.
Really?
You know what? I like Well, I don't know that it got better. The thing with The Crown is it's not real. It's so just why fictionalize people who are alive now? It just makes no sense to me. But I watch it because sometimes there's some crap on TV, and I don't want to watch it.
All right.
And British TV's okay. And I'm a
talk about the new one you watched, the dinner party.
I've been watching. I watch Acorn TV, and we found a show called Friday Night Dinner.
That's fun.
My husband's chuckling in the background. It's
interesting.
It's weird.
It's really like.
Then
it ends.
It's so
good.
It's about a Jewish family in England who you don't know they're Jewish, except their neighbor knows they're Jewish and thinks that they do strange things at Friday night dinner and wants to be involved. I can't even explain him. And the brothers are in their 20s and do stuff that 12-year-old boys do to each other, putting salt in their water and stupid stuff like that. But there's always some big thing that's going to happen during dinner. The neighbor shows up every Friday during dinner, and he's weird and in love with their mom. The dad is an idiot.
Yeah.
I think he's autistic. I finally decided he's autistic. And it ramps up to this climax, and then the show's over, and you're so glad that it's over, so you don't have to see any more stupidity until the next week.
It's so fun.
So it's on Acorn. It's called Friday Night Dinner. It's British. I love British TV. I'm a sucker for it, and sometimes it's really bad.
Yeah. Well, the British are great at portraying painfully stupid people. I mean, you watch Faulty Towers, and you cringe because John Cleese is just like, no, not again, no.
Yeah. I can't do Faulty Towers. I did for a little bit, but I can't. Some of it's just too much. But to go back to The Crown, I like The Crown because I love the royal family for some reason. I think it was because Charles and Diana got married when I was 12, and that's princess time when you're a kid, and the big wedding thing. And now I'm grown up and don't care. But I was really irritated by how some of the royals were portrayed. So, because it's not a documentary, but I don't know that you'd ever get the true story anyway. So.
Well, speaking of Friday Night Dinner, Friday Night Show, if you're listening to the podcast.
Nice segue.
Thank you. If you're listening to the podcast, we do a show every Friday night, the EriDan Social Hour or so. It's like 3 hours lately.
It's gotten a little crazy.
But this week we're doing the dollar store challenge. You're allowed to spend $5 at the dollar store and show us your best items you can come up with. So that should be a lot of fun.
Are there any parameters to what is the best?
We'll decide.
It was so hard, you guys.
You've done it already.
Way too many hours. I rushed out this weekend.
Are you done?
I am ready to go.
You're done?
I just have to decide what 5 things.
She's going to a bunch of different dollar stores, and she's going to pick and choose the best
99-cent store and the Dollar Tree because I was not satisfied with the 99-cent store. Most of those things cost $2.35, so I couldn't bring them.
Cheaters.
Not a real dollar store.
No.
Don't they say everything in the store is 99 cents or below?
Yeah, it said 99 cents only, and then everything was like.
And then you pay.
Wow, they've changed.
Yeah.
I have to go to Kohl's the next day or two to return something for Amazon, and there is a Dollar Tree on my way there, so I'm going to stop and throw down 5 smackaroonies.
I was there today, looking around.
Yeah,
now,
so
Denise,
I'll
this is your first time ever at a Dollar Tree, am I right?
It was my first time.
Oh,
Wow.
You never forget your first time at a Dollar Tree.
No, I love Dollar Tree.
and the smile is still on your face.
It was an experience. Like the security guard, when I left, I was there for an hour. And when I left, he said, "Are you just leaving now?"
You've got to do yourself a favor
and
look
I'll
at
be back, buddy.
Look at the greeting cards and and compare them to the sentiment you get at Hallmark. The dollar sentiment is so much more
I think they're 10 for
perfunctory.
Yeah, perfunctory greetings.
Kurt is the word Kurt.
It's your birthday.
So much more dollars.
Yep. Some of them also are like they're also like rejects and typos. So it's like happy birthday.
Sorry for your
entirely
loss.
true,
Sucks, man.
You got to be careful. So Dan and Eric, when we were signing in, Reagan could see your pictures and faces up here, and she said, "So these were your homies?"
Because she tells stories all the time, and I know for sure that I've met you, Eric,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Dan. Apparently, I've met you, but like I don't remember. And she tells me stories all the time when she was a kid, because like I hang out with my friends and stuff sometimes, like around the neighborhood or whatever, and she used to tell me like, oh yeah, they'd be there like every single day of my life, and I was like, okay, cool, and because I know your brother, like they did stuff for the musical, so I know that. I was like, okay, whatever. But now I'm like, oh, I know these people now.
But she said, so these are your homies? You spent time with them?
Voluntarily?
And then you showed the montage of your younger selves, and I said, that's them right there. I know them.
I remember that. Didn't your whole family come to my yard sale we did for my parents?
That's what she said. Wait a second. I remember
think you
now.
bought something.
Mind blown.
I know.
I think you guys might have bought something. So I'll show this on Friday. I bought a really cool thing on eBay the other day. I'll share on Friday.
That'll have to be a summer challenge once we're all sufficiently relaxed from the pandemic. So maybe late summer is a yard sale challenge where you have to send people out to yard sales to see what they can bring back.
I like this idea.
Beaver County never stopped the yard sales.
Oh, I know
That's
they
happening.
do
We
it
never
there.
stop here either.
Yeah.
We have yard sales, so you just have to, spray your hands and stay away.
Right.
We could do the Gary via yard sale challenge.
Yeah, actually. So, and, and Reagan, if you're here Friday, I will pull up old pictures of your mother.
Him or him.
Do it. I'll do it. I'll watch these movies just for that. You didn't even know. You didn't hear what he said.
No, I didn't hear what he
Don't
said.
tell her.
No, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. It's scandalous. It's also scandalous.
There is one after my first basketball game.
Why don't we show that tonight?
Well, no, it's just Stacy. I think you either came to the game or you came to Eric's afterwards because there's a
I was
picture
at
of
the
me and
game.
you.
I was
You're
at the game. I was wearing red and white. Come
You came to the very first game. Wow, that's right. Because Eric sang.
Surprise.
Eric sang the national anthem.
I did.
Rock
And-
on.
Yeah.
It's on
So, yeah.
Facebook. That picture's on Facebook.
Yes.
Everything's on Facebook. Probably.
Small world.
All right. So
They're just jealous.
all right. So next Monday night, I think we will have a full conversation with anybody who wants to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Oh.
because that'll be
I gotta watch
out
it.
for a while. Me and my kids
Disney
did a
Plus.
full watch for it on Saturday. 6 hours was rough.
Yeah, it is only 6 episodes is the saving grace.
It is
But it is still a bit long.
Wow.
Yeah, I was tempted for my double feature to propose, doing a double feature of the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League combined with The Irishman. Be like 7.5 hours of nonstop watching.
Man.
So what else are you watching this week? Nothing. I had to do the Irishman and Zack Snyder.
I had to split it into hour-long chunks.
So Menza, if you got picked tonight on the wheel, what was going to be your 2 movies?
Well, I had 2 different choices. I was going to do
Look at the
either.
mustache.
Yeah.
Well, that's badass. I was going to do either the original Magnificent Seven with the latest one, or maybe Seven Samurai with the latest one, or I was going to do Ocean's 1960 and Ocean's 2001.
Oh.
Well, I think what we will do is when you've had a double feature, when you've gotten to choose a double feature, we will turn your name off on the wheel.
Absolutely.
Going forward so that everybody gets a chance to pick a double feature. So,
Well, are you
Also,
going to do
we've
the
also-
name thing again? I like that.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah. So
He really wants you to pick her.
I was so excited. I was so stoked. You have no idea. I couldn't even decide. But I have one specific.
oh, man.
Tell us.
And you're going to keep it a secret.
Come
I'll
on.
tell you about it. It's
Don't get her started.
okay.
Tell us.
It's a movie show. She can talk about movies.
It's my favorite movie. It's like one of my favorite ones. And it's Room with Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay. And not many, but I love it. I love I hate that kind of stuff, like that kind of like what it's about. But it's made so well. I actually read the book. I don't read.
She doesn't read books.
I read
ever.
the book. It took me 5 months, but I did it. And I seriously, I have no idea. I want to talk about it every single chance that I get. I have a 5-subject notebook filled with notes about the movie. Like, I love it so much.
Is that the movie she won the Oscar for? She won an Oscar,
Yes.
right?
Yep,
Right, she won.
2016.
I have
Right.
a copy of that ready to watch, and I have not watched it yet.
So good.
And she watches a double feature with Panic Room, starring Yeah.
No, that's not the same thing.
Or escape room. Or
That's not the
Yeah.
same.
Room with
it's
a
so
view,
good.
you know?
And then my favorite part is like the most like people don't notice the part of the movie, but it's just like, oh, I love it so much.
No, I love, even if it's a movie I don't care about as much or it doesn't work for me, when someone's passionate about a movie, it's fun to hear them talk about it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Not every single
Not
day,
tonight.
Dave.
Not tonight,
No,
apparently.
but for an hour and a half
Dave,
on
you don't
one
live with
Monday
her,
night,
so
I
that's-
can handle it.
You can.
Oh,
I
good,
won't
Dave.
be
Then I
here.
will recommend True
I
Beverly
tell her all
Hills.
the time. I talk about shows I
And
don't
in
even
Notebook
watch.
3, in Chapter 4, I have notes that's...
Well, that's what I do. I talk about shows that I don't even watch. Like The Handmaid's Tale comes out this week, season 4. I know all about it, but I'm never going to watch it. But I'll tell you about it. Here's all about it. I get mad about it.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I read the book 30 years ago. It's not that big a deal.
I just
My double feature was going to be all Steve Gutenberg.
Oh,
Think of the bullet you dodged, Regan. You may have not gotten your name came up.
Police
You also
Academy,
watched two
every
Steve
single
Gutenberg
one,
movies.
and all 3 Men and the Babies, right?
No, no,
Nope.
obscure. I'm gonna do obscure stuff like P.S. Your cat is dead, which I'm slightly in.
Wow.
he's slightly in it.
You're
I'm
in it?
slightly in,
Slightly.
and
Slightly.
and Diner is one of
Yes,
his early
I
movies.
watched Diner a couple weeks ago. Oh my God, so
That's supposed to be
good.
really good.
Yeah.
So good. Steve Gutenberg, Paul Reiser, Mickey Rourke,
Really?
Tim Daly,
Kevin Bacon.
DeLeone?
Yeah, that's right.
Watching it.
Oh, what
Diner.
a great film! What a great
see it?
film!
Makes me 2
Diner.
degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Diner and Big Chill, kind of the same vibe.
You know what came up
I guess.
on YouTube? I'm getting a ton of recommendations lately of clips from Taxi. I don't know what I watched that made it think I want to watch all kinds of clips from Taxi, but I've watched a few of them just because the best scenes of Taxi are brilliant.
You're just going to get more.
And
No,
they showed the scene, the famous episode, and I remember the episode, but I completely forgot one part of it where Jim tries drugs for the first time when he was in college.
Oh yeah, he's like really smart, and he
And
has
he does that great double take that's just amazing. And I'd forgotten completely that the other college guy in the room who's completely stoned out of his gourd is Tom Hanks.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
I forgot that too.
That's right.
Now he's a cowboy.
You know what I've been watching is old game shows.
Yes.
Last night I watched
Match
Super
Game.
Password. No, the Super Password, the original one with Bert Convy. And he's
So
got, like,
good.
he's got Charles Nelson Riley on, and he's like trying to explain everything to Charles Nelson Riley. He's like, hello.
The Password
You know who that is?
No, but that
Top
was
row
funny.
match game with glasses.
Oh,
We had to explain who he was to Reagan. She's been watching Match Game with us once in a while, and
yeah.
so she.
Hollywood Squares is another good
There
one
was
to
a,
get
there was
some
a
good,
host of Match Game
call-ins
before
time.
Alec Baldwin. You know this, right? Okay. there was.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't watch that one.
Nope.
They don't like Alec
is-
Baldwin.
No.
Or a Gene Rayburn kind of guy.
Yeah.
Gene Rayburn with he had the high cheekbones.
Yep.
And the hyper long microphone.
Thin, long microphone.
Yeah, but
I think that's a good place to
Yeah,
end, Eric. What do you think?
I was going to do a few things. I was going to do a few things before we wrap up. I want to remind everybody to subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Amazon and leave a review. Also, to break Dan's heart, Hoosiers lined up towards the middle center of the pack. A 75.90. So,
bad.
yeah.
I want to
there it is.
recount. I want to recount. I think
You want to
Arizona-
recount? You need a final shot to maybe win the game. Remind everybody that next week we will be watching both The Apartment and Some Like It Hot, 1959 and 1960. So going way back.
And it
Anyone
fits into
know,
RuPaul's
anyone know
Drag
where the
Race.
hotel is where they shot that movie?
What's that?
The real
And,
hotel where they
Some
shot
Like It
that
Hot.
movie?
Miami.
That's where they pretended. No, actually, they pretended to be in Fort Lauderdale, I think. Or no, it's not Miami. Wrong coast.
Oh.
It's the hotel.
So tell us.
Hotel del Coronado in San Diego or Coronado, California. It's really there. Yeah, it's a landmark.
And I will remind
He's been
everybody
there.
when we get off tonight, when this show is over, make sure to head over to
Well, isn't this like a talk show where you give us each a mug in the green
mug?
Our parting gifts.
And this is not available on the store yet because it's still pending. But you can get an overexposed T-shirt.
Oh my god!
Wow, who is that guy?
I want that Tom Selleck mustache on him.
That's extra.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, all the shirts there are customizable, so you can choose various colors.
Yeah, there it is.
Picture there. Hold on, let's bring that up. There it is. Wow. There's Stacy and Dan, circa 1988.
No, that's 1991. That's right after my first game at Avonworth. And I'm actually looking on Facebook right now because Eric posted that back in June of 2009.
Reagan goes, who is that?
and my comment was, isn't that right after my first game as a coach at Avonworth? What a mustache. And Stacy says, oh, wait, those are my eyebrows?
Yeah.
I think I have another picture from that night.
At least you had two eyebrows.
We'll Stacy's eyebrows over your lips. Is that what I'm understanding?
I believe I have another picture from that night that we can share on Friday. So tune in Friday night. It will be I don't know, 3-4 hours long of video games playing ridiculously long games and the Dollar Store Challenge. Yeah, I think it's going to
listen, I watch all the Friday night show all the way from the beginning to
She's frozen.
Yep.
That's funny.
Is Michael frozen or the acting? Oh.
I did want to mention one thing, which is there's a show coming up on CNN that I'm looking forward to. And it does premiere before the next Monday night show because it's on Sunday night. They have a 6-part series, a limited series called The Story of Late Night. They're going to be talking all about late night talk shows. They're starting with Steve Allen and Jack Parr and Johnny Carson, and they're going to gradually move up until the 6th episode is about the current state of. And that stuff just fascinates me. I love that. I love that period. I love the development of the late night format, and I think it could be an excellent
the movie, The Late Show, the movie about the Letterman fight.
I'm familiar with it. I didn't watch it.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I've watched that multiple times. It's been a long time, but I did watch that one.
I like that movie. It's just
what I loved about it is Letterman's like, I never shot arrows in my backyard. I've never done archery before. Like there's like a whole scene where he's like, and he goes, my hair's not orange. Why do they have orange hair?
Yeah.
Well, now he looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah. He looks like Adam.
No, he's a lot grayer than Adam.
Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're so glad you were here. We hope you get a chance to watch both of these movies for next week. Stop over the EriDan Facebook page. You can see the ratings. You can get information of where to stream next week's movies. And
Denise is going to kill each and every one of us on Friday with this challenge thing. I guarantee it.
She is going to kill us. No, I don't think I did that well because I was like thinking too practically, like what could I actually use? So I think mine are going to be a little boring.
Good though.
That's a good spend of $5, but we're looking for like the absurd things you could find at the
comedy value.
OMG, I can't believe you bought that for $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
If I had $2.50 at the 99-cent store, I would have come with the best item ever.
Like something like like really? They make dollar rectal thermometers? You know, something like that.
Michael
Menza, Dave says every week.
Michael Menza, what's the difference between a rectal thermometer and oral thermometer?
About 3 feet.
The way they taste.
There you go. I knew he would know the answer.
Wow.
And if you're looking for more humor like that, join us on
Friday night. Here we go.
Hold on. I'm not going to be here Friday. You're not going to have this kind of humor. But I do understand that when two teams are playing a series of games and they skip one, isn't that known as a bye?
Magic. Magic.
All right.
I'm trying to end the show on a bad pun. You guys
must be magic.
Must be
terrible.
All right. Good night, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.